What's up, family? Give this video a big thumbs up if you get some value from this video. And if you're new to the channel, come join the family. And if you haven't joined the family and you're watching another video, join the family and welcome back to the channel. So if we got a lot to unpack here, family, with some of the most intriguing political and financial news. Let's break it all down step by step so you can understand what's happening and what it might mean for you. So Trump's financial strategy, empowerment is the fancy word we like to call it here. So understanding empowerment is basically unconstitutional power, allowing the president to withhold or impound funds that Congress has appropriated if he believes they're not needed or being misused. It's like having a right to cancel an unused subscription, if you know what I mean. So historically, this power was more commonly used, but it's been contentious. So the trillions in questions you may ask, and why is this word empowerment being used in the first place? Well, it all comes down to we're talking about $1.7 trillion, folks, largely from the Inflation Reduction Act, IRA, they like to call it, signed into law under President Biden. This act was meant to combat climate change, reduce healthcare costs, and more, with funds allocated for projects like rebuilding infrastructure, or AKA roads, we like to call it simply, or promoting green energy. However, according to reports, much of this money, especially the portion managed by Secretary Pete Buttigieg, hasn't been effectively used. And Trump is considering impounding these funds, arguing they be unnecessarily allocated or poorly managed. Check out what Trump had to say.
For 200 years under our system of government, it was undisputed that the president had the constitutional power to stop unnecessary spending through what is known as impoundment.
So imagine, family, if you gave $100 to a friend for a group outing, but they only needed $20. You'll want the remaining 80 back, right? That's the ideal here, but on a $1 trillion scale. So he also speaks on returning the funds to the American people. And the goal, as suggested by Trump's inner circle, would be to return these monies to the American people in regards of that matter, possibly through direct payments or tax refunds. This would be like getting a surprise check in the mail, a windfall from your own government savings. Check it out, folks.
This is from a viewer who reached out to me. She's in Cape Coral, Florida. And she says, Harris, could the government give all the taxpayers a refund from the money they're finding that went to places it never should have gone?
Yes, that is the next step, and that is the next natural step. When you are finding all of this money, when you are taking it back, when you are cutting off future streams of funding, give that back to the American people. Then you will see the economy absolutely explode. And people will once again be able to take out new loans and start new businesses and all the wonderful things that follow when they have more of their own money.
This is from a viewer.
And that's amazing, folks. However, you have some people on the opposite side, extreme leftists, like Latita James, as she's in a tizzy right now. She has her panties in a bunch, or draws, let's be more appropriate, in a bunch, for the simple fact that her funds have been halted by the Trump administration because they've basically been on freeze. And also, we have an individual by the name of New York City comptroller Brad Lander whines after Elon Musk took 80 million back from the city and was going to use on illegal immigrants. Says the money just disappeared from their accounts. That's amazing, folks, because why is it not going to the American people in the first place? But check out these people whining and complaining about basically using the American people taxpayer dollars correctly, as they're basically acting like it's their money. Check it out.
This is highway robbery. This is the federal government having already allocated, authorized, awarded, invoiced, and paid $80.5 million to the city of New York. And then Elon Musk, with no legal authority, seizing it back. This is highway robbery.
There you have it, folks. And now check out Latita James. As we know, she is crooked as they come. This woman, man, she gives me a hardened heart, hasty, bad attitude vibes. But that's just my opinion, right? We just having a conversation.
and payments to the state of New York and to states all across this nation. It is unacceptable, unconstitutional, ultra-vires. They've exceeded their authority. And so it's important that attorneys general representing our respective states stand up and enforce the rule of law, because Elon Musk, individuals at the Treasury, and the President of these United States is not above the law. And we will continue. You know, as attorneys general, we've been preparing for this. This is not the outcome that we wanted.
But the American people wanted it. That's the problem. You want what you want, but you're so ignorant to the fact that the American people wanted this. And you operate on the behalf of the American people. You're still somewhat shape of a form, or you are a shape of a form of a public official that American people is trusted in you to basically entrust in basically acting on their voice on their behalf. Our vote is a lobby in regards of basically our vote is a way of you. If you lobby the thing that we actually gravitate to and resonate with, that's how you gain the American people vote, which is in turn our voice. And our voice in turn, you will represent us on the behalf as a public official because you are lobbying the things that we agree with, which is why you got our vote in the first place, right? It's that simple. We voted for Donald Trump. The American people as a whole voted, and they have spoken. Woman, what don't you understand here? But wait, you don't want to understand. You want what you want. But see, when the well dries up, and these Democrats, I'm going to just be real with you, family. These Democrats are basically, they have no control. They lost all power, and they're trying to hold on to the little powers that they have. Being as rebellious and anti-American and resistant they can be, family. And it's just mind-boggling to me. So Musk, since you talked about Elon Musk and Dogecoin's role, right? Or Doge, I would like to say, because they making it like, I say Dogecoin because they making it like Elon Musk is basically enriching himself by accessing American people very, very crucial information on behalf of the American people. And he's basically colluding with Donald Trump to basically enriching himself and spying on American people and looking at their private information. That's the narrative that they're running with when it comes to these extreme liberals whining and complaining. So Elon Musk, famous for his ventures like Tesla and SpaceX and PayPal, which he could have been had access to many or he been did, I should say, have access to many Americans' private information, because let's not forget that Elon Musk founded PayPal, and then he sold PayPal in turn to basically invest in creating Tesla as we know it today from the funds that he got from PayPal in the first place when he sold PayPal. So he been had access to people's information, and if he wanted to do it then, he would have done it, right? But we'll get there, because also we have over here, we have basically Tim Burchett did mention that he was the founder of PayPal, and he been had access to information. If the narrative that the Democrats are spewing to basically fearmonger and put fear into the American people that they want to access your private information, and that's dangerous. We'll get to that though. But I wanted to talk about, Elon Musk and his venture, with the Doge community and his team has taken an unconventional role in auditing government spending. They started with the IRS, right? And that's what the Democrats are whining about. And one of the most critical agencies for financial oversight is the IRS, looking at how taxpayer money is spent or in some cases squandered. Why the IRS, right? The IRS handles our tax dollars, as we know, the American people. If there's waste, fraud, or abuse, it's here and we will see it first. Musk and Doge essentially auditing the auditors, looking for signs of corruption or inefficiency. It's like hiring a private investigator to check if your accountant is managing your finances honestly, right? But the political backlash and this move with Elon Musk and Doge, basically the Department of Government Efficiency is going in and basically starting to um, audit the IRS, and the left have been whining and complaining this whole week, constantly talking about Elon Musk going into the IRS and accessing taxpayer crucial and essential and very sensitive information. And does he have the security clearance and all this mess? This move has caused a stir, especially amongst Democrats, because it's potentially exposes mismanagement or corruption with government ranks. And the media's focus on this aspect might be because it reveals how some federal employees have seen their wealth increase dramatically while in public service, which raises ethical questions. But check this out, because this is amazing to see.
The opposition is raising concerns that, they're getting access to this IRS data. They're going to be looking into the private records of taxpayers across the country. Can you give assurances to people who faithfully pay their taxes in this country the Doge isn't just going to go randomly sifting through the records and maybe come across the personal private records of a lot of Americans?
I can give absolute 100% insurance. I give you complete and total assurance on that point. We are talking about performing a basic anti-fraud review to ensure that people are not engaging in large-scale theft of federal taxpayer benefits. I mean, for example, we pay billions of dollars a year in child tax credit payments to illegal aliens. Billions with a B. So these are systematic, programmatic reforms that we're talking about here. And as far as protecting the secrecy of tax records, the IRS has been weaponized at the career level against the American people for years now. This has been one of the most invasive arms of the federal government, engaging in capricious and politically based audits, leaking taxpayer information for political reasons. We are restoring the neutrality. We are restoring ethics. We are restoring security controls at IRS. In fact, one of the big projects that Doge is going to be working on is upgrading IT systems and software so that our taxpayer information cannot be stolen by criminals or foreign governments.
So, Stephen, just when it comes to, maybe we're getting a little too in the weeds here, but I think you have to. When you look at the Integrated Data Retrieval System, the IDRS, I guess this is where some red flags are going up about access to that personal information. This would give the tax agency employees access to IRS accounts, and certainly you can correct me if I'm wrong, but wouldn't they then have access to personal identification numbers and bank information?
No. What we're talking about is at the programmatic level, being able to analyze and assess for signs and...
All right, we get it. So I want to show you guys, right? Because there has been Social Security fraud, right? And a massive fraud scheme, Musk and Doge have uncovered what could have been one of the most largest frauds in U.S. history involving Social Security numbers. Over 200 million numbers are allegedly linked to benefits they shouldn't be receiving. And this includes an unbelievable number of centenarians on record, which doesn't match demographic realities, right? And this is what I'm talking about, folks. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, I am talking about in regard, according to Social Security database, these are the numbers of people in each age bucket with the death field set to false. Maybe Twilight is real and there are a lot of vampires collecting Social Security. 0 through 9, 10 through 19, 20 through 29. And we go all the way down to 229 years old. 1,039 people? And it makes me think, comment down below, people, because this is the question. This is what I'm thinking. Right? This is just my opinion. This is not facts. A lot of these individuals are most likely dead, right? So that means family members didn't report to Social Security in regards to the behalf of their loved one, and they have been receiving these benefits. Comment down below what you guys think about it. I'm always open to the possibility of being wrong. We just having a conversation, okay? Okay, just relax. So, investigating fraud is my point, right? And they're working to trace these payments, finding that much of this could be linked to international fraud rings as well, using stolen or deceased identities. And the scale is mind-boggling, potentially sip honing millions from the system meant to support our elderly and disabled. An example, right? I'm gonna give you an example. Think of it like discovering thousands of fake lottery winners all claiming your prize money, right? So it's just mind-boggling to me. And I want to show you guys in regards of Tim Burchett on how he basically demolished CNN because he said, look, you're going to see a lot of red faces when they follow this paper trail back to members of Congress because everybody's up in the tissy. All these Democrats are up in it. They got their drawers in a bunch because why is IRS having access? I mean, why is Elon Musk having access to Doge, right? Well, this is what Tim Burchett had to say. And look, he's as real as they come.
About all this.
Right. But you know, I think that there's a lot of Americans who are supportive of this effort to clear out government waste, including members of Congress on both sides of the aisle. But there's also concern by how much access Musk and Doge staffers have to their private sensitive data. You're also on the House Oversight Committee. And given what we just talked about, Musk's investments with China and billions of dollars before the government, and now, you know, potentially having access to all this private sensitive data and not having full transparency on what is happening with that.
Yes, ma'am.
What information do you actually have on what Doge is doing with that data? What are your questions? What do you want to know? Certainly, as a member of the Oversight, you have some questions.
Well, first of all, Elon Musk, when he owned PayPal, they never had a breach of security. IRS is a nightmare, ma'am. You have folks that still haven't gone back to work 3 or 4 years after COVID. As a United States congressman, I can write a letter of concern over a constituent of mine having a problem with the IRS, and it takes up to 6 months for me to get a response.
Look, I'm not saying there's no problems with government agencies or the IRS.
Hold on. You asked me a question.
But you're not answering it.
And the IRS the IRS has hundreds of different groups that have access to this stuff, and yet no one's complained about that. You don't hear
there's checks and balances in place for the specific system. That's not true. Even the IRS, even politicals and the former IRS commissioner who was just on the show yesterday said even he didn't go to it, and it's highly unusual for politicals to have access to that system. Do you not have questions about what they're doing with the data, why they want access to private tax information from Americans? Do you not have those questions as a member of the Oversight Committee?
I have questions. The only reason you'd have questions is if you're doing something crooked. And you're going to see a lot of congressmen with red faces when they follow this paper trail back to members of Congress, ma'am. And that's the bottom line. Where were they fussing the last 3 or 4 years? I mean, we've had these groups different groups have access. Hundreds of different people have access to this that are nowhere in the scope of what needs to be. And yet no one raised one peep about it. Now Elon Musk gets a hold of it, and he's going to do something. He's going to make some changes that need to be made. And you all are pitching a fit. It's the same old line, and you attack the message carrier,
clear, you
not
all
the
were
message.
not pitching
Man, shout out to him, man. Shout out to Timmy. That's my dog, man. That's my dog. Man, comment down below if you got this far in the video. Get this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to the family. Comment down below, Timmy. Comment down below, Timmy. Yeah. Look, man. Look. It's mind-boggling to me. And I want to just talk the last thing in the last segment of this video. I want to talk about the grassroots movement, right? And there's been a lot of talk about the grassroots movement against these changes, but the organization level suggests it's something more orchestrated. And the movement is calling for protests, even a national economic blackout on February 18th, targeting companies that have rolled back diversity, equity, and inclusion, right? And after Trump's executive order to eliminate such programs in federal departments, it's just mind-boggling. Also show you guys the proof because I don't want to just be saying things. I want to actually give value, right? So this is this blackout that's talking about on February 28th. Americans are pledging to stop making any purchases for a full 24 hours, right? So at the end of the day, the orders have caused PBS to close its diversity, equity, and inclusion office from Trump ending several DEI initiatives. And this is from Newsweek, right? And it goes from stores like Amazon, well, major companies like Amazon, Target, and Google are taking steps to dissolve DEI initiatives, which a lot of critics are saying is reverse racism hiring. I just look at it like at the end of the day, let's hire people on the basis of their qualifications and actually being qualified for the job, and not just based on a certain percentage based on you having to be hired on the color of your skin and not really the credentials that the job is asking for in the first place for you to bring valuable to the company, right? Because it's one thing for you to hire somebody, because they look like you, but then it's another thing to hire someone that actually qualify for the job and actually bring valuable to help the company. Why would you have someone, for example, in your store just because they look like you, but doesn't necessarily mean they know how to do the job? Just for example, let's take it a step further and comment down below, guys. Do you agree with me or disagree? That's like someone having a degree and they learn how to take a test. They learn how to study and take a test. But at the end of the day, do they really qualify for the job, and do their experience match the execution for the position that you had highly believed that they were having the potential to execute when it comes to your business? I take it a step further. You're not going to hire a surgeon, even though they are accredited, they are qualified to be a surgeon based on having the qualifications. But if they have shaky hands, do you really want them operating on people? You can't be a surgeon with shaky hands. That's dangerous. You got people's lives in your hands, right? So what I'm saying is diversity, equity, inclusion should be getting rid of. And at the end of the day, a lot of people are trying to boycott and call themselves not shopping at these places. But while you're standing outside doing that, it doesn't affect them no different. You're going to boycott for 24 hours, and then there's still people that are going to be rocking with these companies that are still going to rock with them. At the end of the day, it's the same thing, part of the business. For example, in Target, right? People are boycotting Target because they are stopping and rolling back their diversity, equity, inclusion programs. But at the end of the day, it's like a product on the shelf at Walmart or Target. If it's not doing well, they wipe it out, and then they go and evolve and find a product that people are actually resonate with that's doing well on their shelves. It's business. But one last thing, I just wanted to put that out there. They're actually protesting, right? So you have Ed Markey, basically political figure Ed Markey are using language that some interpret as cause for rebellion against the Trump administration. And this blurs the line between protest and insurrection when you have elected officials seemingly encouraging civil unrest. For example, it's one thing to march for change if that's what you want to do, go ahead, whatever, tickles your fanny, I guess. And it's another to imply that change should come through overthrowing the government. But check this out.
This is the city of revolutionaries from the American Revolution to create checks and balances in the United States Constitution so that we did not have a dictator, a king, the way those colonists were living under it. And they fought all along Massachusetts Avenue, all coming out, the Minutemen and women, to say no taxation without representation. We want to have a balance. We cannot have a king. The American Revolution started here. The revolution of abolitionism started here. The revolution of the suffragette movement started here. The revolution of same-sex marriage started here. The revolution against the war in Vietnam started here. The revolution against Donald Trump and Elon Musk, it starts here in Boston.
Well, oof. That was a lot to cover. What do you think about these developments? Is this truly a grassroots response? Or is there more going on behind the scenes? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. And if you find this breakdown helpful, give this video a big thumbs up, subscribe, and hit that bell for more updates. Until next time, keep questioning, Keep learning, keep staying informed, and also let the love supersede the hate. On that note, family, peace.